Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to call the August 17, 2024 Plan Commission public hearing to order. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mr. Becker?
Here.
Mr. Parker?
Here.
Mr. Carnahan?
Here.
Mr. Hunley?
Here.
Ms. Dessauer? Present. Mr. Wilkeny?
Here.
Mr. Capero?
Present.
Mr. Oliphant?
Here.
Mr. Austin is absent. Mr. Deutmeyer?
Present.
Ms. Abernathy? Present. Ms. Hayes is present.
Okay, minutes of March 20th, 2024, public meeting. These have been distributed. If there's no questions, I will entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Ms. Dessauer.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Becker. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Mr. Carnahan?
Yes.
Mr. Hunley?
Yes.
Ms. Dessauer?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkeny?
Yes.
Mr. Capero?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Before we get into the first addendum item, Mr. Carnahan has a statement or a question for,
I requested our town engineer, I asked him about what's happening with the water over here, and so he sent out a report, and I just a minute ago sent it to everybody, so you got it, but I've asked him to speak on what he's doing and what our status is on it.
What was submitted to item today was essentially a follow-up report from the January submittal. This is a comprehensive kind of called modeling of the entire 3 separate water systems that are in the town today. We call west side, it's referred to as Utilities Inc. East side is Robin's Nest, and then also the new well at Paradise Cove Lighthouse. We've taken all of that information to date with all the developments in town, all the existing users, put it into a giant model, and essentially off that model we've master planned through the future to basically get our current capacities. That modeling was required basically to push forward the Morse water main extension just from the new lighthouse well up through the public safety buildings and then also down Constitution. That's the second step that we've taken to try to get that notice of intent from IDEM to allow us to put pipe in the ground. So that's why that project hasn't started yet. So this is a great tool in master planning, future development. We literally can just plug in subdivisions and get pressures and capacities pretty much a snap of the fingers. So as far as I know, you guys haven't had something like this. We've been working on it probably since last fall. So everything's pretty much up to where it needs to be, and then IDEM's going to look at it, give us some feedback, and we'll take the next step kind of at their whatever they say.
I got to ask you the hard question.
Okay.
Some of that was contingent with the IURC, and I assume IDEM too, on getting a loop in that system.
So this is all kind of
with that.
This is all kind of coming off of the permit that was issued a couple of years ago for the 141st transmission main. Which essentially extends from the lighthouse well down 141st to the old eastern corporate limit. So essentially the southwest corner of the new Lakeside South development. A contingent of that permit was effectively to the town was not allowed to connect into the new lighthouse well without meeting several contingencies. One would be the interconnection of the Robin's Nest and tank into the lighthouse well facility, and then also providing chemical treatment at the new lighthouse well as well. So we initially went into IDEM back in August for our permit, and it was meant to be a mere what we call a water main extension NOI, which is a short 2-page form. We kind of got surprised by that, and they were missing a lot of information from that initial permit that hadn't been done yet. So we essentially did a whole bunch of analysis on both sides, both water systems, to kind of give them the information they need to basically expand the water system, make it one, for the east side particularly.
Okay. So not having that looped and getting that agreement fulfilled is not gonna affect anything?
No, it wasn't the fact that it wasn't looped yet. We got the feeling, and we've really done a lot of stuff with water for the town since last fall, and we really started doing this because we needed to do it. IDEM kind of said they've been asking for this information for a long time and just have never gotten it, and we kind of took the brunt of it when we came in for what should have been a simple water main extension permit. They essentially turned around and said, no, you need to do a public water service permit, which is a 10-page form, and a substantial lot more information that's needed to get that. Because the 141st transmission main was somehow permitted off Robin's Nest well. It wasn't permitted off the Lighthouse well. That's why they couldn't connect into it. So that 141st transmission main, while it's been tested and chlorinated and pressure tested, it's still sitting out dead. That's why everything's bagged. It's not attached to anything right now. So the only thing running off the Lighthouse well right now is the Lighthouse.
Well, we knew that.
Yeah, and it's a public water system, but it has one user.
And how long do you anticipate before you hear something back from IDEM?
We're going to give them probably a week to digest it. Like I said, we had a lengthy meeting with them in January. They gave us marching orders of what they wanted to see. That's what this is, put it all together. We'll probably give them a week, reach back out to them, and see how we proceed.
But I want everybody on the Plan Commission to be aware of what's happening, because in the past, you were told it's none of your business, but I think it is your business.
Absolutely.
Who would have said that?
Knowledge that's handy.
Not gonna mention any names.
You got a ballpark on a cost for all this yet?
I also sent it to you actually.
What specifically?
All of it? To get us,
Like infrastructure costs?
yes.
I think the Morse water main project is 800, 900,000. That's already bid out. Gatlin's the contractor. They're just kind of waiting.
That's scary.
There's been multiple upgrades over the last year, not the tank withstanding. We have equipment coming in to upgrade Robin's Nest wells probably in the next 4 to 6 weeks, to upgrade some of those VFDs and to get telemetry in that well house to talk to the tank in order to put the tank online. And then they have upgraded the VFDs and pumps in the existing Lighthouse well from 15 to 25 horsepower. VFDs can be increased all the way up to 40 if we want to increase our pumps. And then there's a kind of phase 2 plan to upgrade the well house, basically build an entirely new well house at Lighthouse. But that's kind of maybe end of this year.
You don't know a ballpark on that?
We really haven't gotten into the cost of it. It's going to account, we know the approximate size of the well house will be about 40 by 40. It's going to be modeled off of Haven Woods wells, because those have worked pretty well, but we haven't gotten into that quite yet.
Okay. Well, keep us posted.
Yep.
And I'm glad we've got him working on this, because we're making progress, which we haven't been in the past.
Well, all this progress should have been started before that building got started, shouldn't it?
Yeah, but
Actually, this progress should have been completed before that building got started, shouldn't it?
well, I'm not gonna speak what I think the problem is, because I don't wanna throw anybody under.
Okay, any other discussion?
No. I would also like to state, I made at the town council meeting last night, that there was a lot of people that didn't understand that we're only dredging 20% of that lake, and that we've completed 64.7% of the 20% dredging. So there's only about 35.3%, right, that's still in the loop. And I also indicated to the people that were here, and I want this audience to also hear it, that this town council and for the ones of us that are on the town council are out there looking in every avenue that we can to try and get money to dredge that lake. The town manager's administrative assistant, Kirsten Smith, has been looking for grants. She's looked into Bill Gates and Melissa Gates, but we can't use that. Brian Kubel told me about the Northwest Indiana Forum grant. I had her look into that, and the deadline was March 29th, but I just heard from Brian yesterday. And she is looking everywhere. We met with Jerry Tippy, who Nick Recupero was told that he had $1 million for us, and Jeff Bungie, our town manager, met with him, and he said that's never been approved. And so this Thursday, we're meeting with United States Congressman Frank Mervan's staff.
That's tomorrow.
Right, to see if we can get some money through him. I don't care where it comes from. If I can get some money and continue this dredging, I want to see it happen. And there are rumors out on the street that we don't care, that we're trying to stop it, and that is false. Okay.
I concur.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on to the first addendum, agenda item. 141st Partners, final plat. Owner, 141st Partners LLC, Mike Neubauer, 2802 East 139th Avenue, Crown Point, Indiana. Petitioner, 141st Partners LLC, 2802 East 139th Avenue, Crown Point, Indiana. Vicinity of 10702 West 141st Avenue, Cedar Lake, Indiana.
Yes, Russ Posen, DVD Teaming, 1155 Troutline Road, Crown Point, Indiana. The owner, Mike Neubauer, I think is on Zoom. I'll start with, again, a status since the study session. The weather wasn't quite as cooperative as we'd like to get contractors and excavators out there to do some of the cleaning. However, my client has secured his contractor to have his equipment out on site this Friday, and because the weather is going to be improved and stay dry, they are actually going to be doing some of that cleanup work Monday. So that is the ongoing as far as the site conditions. Since that time, we did receive a letter from Christopher Burke, April 12th, from Don, he's stating that the final plat is satisfactory to his condition, to his approval, and that he does have a recommendation of a full letter of credit amount, which is $473,000 plus. My client has no problem with that. He's actually secured from his bank that amount. It should be ready, let's say, probably a week from now, if we're able to obviously move forward with that. And my client obviously has installed a lot, all the water mains, so he's obviously done things, but obviously we can't. The recommendation is to not lower the bond amount, which we are fine with. Give the town some security, make you guys feel more comfortable, and obviously keep my client's feet to the fire to obviously keep this project moving forward. On that note, to get this project to keep moving forward, tonight is a crucial night. We do need, we'd love to have and do need final plat approval so that we can move towards, pulling building permit and getting that going. May is the time frame when the extension that we had previously got would expire. So we don't want that to happen. I would hope that the town would not want that to happen so that this project can keep going and actually come to fruition and start serving the public. Any questions would be open to hear.
Don, any comments?
I issued a letter on April 12th. The plat itself is in order. We did recommend the letter of credit be posted at full value, considering some of the issues still present on site. So I'll get into that in a second. If you do move forward with approval of the final plat, the numbers, the 3% inspection fee is $12,912.15. The letter of credit value posted at full value would be $473,445.50, and then an MS4 inspection fee of $1,500. My understanding, the 3% fee and the MS4 fee have already been paid. We did issue a MS4 inspection report today, where we recommended another $3,000 fine and a stop work order. The site, regardless of how much rain we've had, is just not to where it needs to be. There are been minor progress since the last time we talked, but there's still severe outstanding issues on the property.
Okay, another $3,000 fine, what was before that?
$3,000.
And was that paid?
Yes.
I believe so, yes.
So the first $3,000 was paid, but now they have a brand new $3,000 one,
Yes.
for the same reason.
Yeah, we're just not seeing the progress we'd hoped we'd seen. I understand we've had a lot of rain, but
Yes, absolutely.
there's been a lot of flushing on this site onto other sites. It's been pretty bad.
And the downstream, the downstream area was definitely, I expected that myself. And I did have erosion control measures taken, and the receiving Rose Garden structure is in good working order.
Yeah, it's just, it's not in a good shape, to put it bluntly. But I don't know if you want to tie the two things together. I understand there is a deadline on their zoning expiration, so we are withholding the entire letter of credit. There has been water main installed which would warrant a reduction, but we're holding it back because of site issues.
And the water main itself, the cost of that was roughly $348,000. So that has been installed, and that's a bulk of this letter of credit. So it obviously needs to be inspected and approved by the town. But that's where kind of our statement and my client's statement of there's a large amount of letter of credit that's available to the town to make sure things get done. And my client wants to get things done. And he wants to get this project moving and get it cleaned up and get his buildings going and make it, what was designed and what was approved.
And wasn't there a culvert that was blocked up too?
Yes, that was all set. That was opened up, and the area around it needs to be cleaned up and seeded and that part. But yeah, the culvert has been exposed. But that's railroad property that has been not maintained for years. Before, and actually, that was as is or existing before we even got to the site.
Before you guys...
We were even there.
Right.
We notified Norfolk Southern to actually clean out all the culverts south of 141st along the line with Hanover Middle School. They're all not in great shape.
And what was their response?
They're working on it.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they responded to us, which is a positive, but I can't tell you when or if they'll get to it.
It's hard to deal with the railroad.
It is.
Building department, is there anything?
In regards to the final plat, no, there's no major comments or concerns. I'm sure the $3,000 fine has been assessed by the administrative assistant of the town manager. I can check with her tomorrow morning. As reported by Russ Posen, Mr. Newbauer did pay his 3% inspection fee, the MS4 inspection fee, and he did pay the initial first $3,000 MS4 fine. All those have been paid. If the plat is not approved tonight and it's gone down the road, then unless the BZA is amenable to another extension, which our zoning ordinance only allows for one by technicality, they would have to redo the use variance for the storage facility on that site.
When does that expire?
May,
Next month.
middle of next month, yep.
So we need to approve, or they're gonna have to redo everything?
Yep.
You do have a special public meeting on May 1st.
That's what I was
If
gonna
you wanted
check.
to wait, think about it.
Yeah, this has been sitting here for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, waiting would not help get this thing moving forward.
Well, they sat on it for a year,
Of course,
before it came to us again. Do you think you'll have a lot of this stuff cleared up by the meeting in May?
yeah, I mean, he's got a
The work
contract,
session, we're
he's
gonna...
got a contractor coming, on Monday, but obviously we want to keep this thing moving, appropriately.
Well, I think we can
And that's
maybe
what
move forward with a special meeting at the work session in May, and at that meeting, you have to have all this stuff cleared up. So Don gives us an okay, and, that's all, then we can move forward with an approval of
So then, but then if we have the special meeting in May 1st, we still have to get the letter of credit approved by the town council, I assume. And that would have to happen in May as well,
The
correct?
next town council meeting isn't until May 21st anyway, because what they would normally be the next town council meeting is election day, and the town hall is a polling place, so we cannot be open.
So even if it was approved today, the town council's not gonna see it until the end of May.
Correct. I mean, if the planning commission's okay with it, and the letter of credit is accepted at that May for a special public meeting, theoretically, a building permit could be submitted, which would allow the variance to continue. It wouldn't let the variance expire, and just nothing could be released until after the town council approves the letter of credit. And I can hold that permit in my office.
You know, I think, obviously, there's a factor here that we have to deal with, and, I mean, the town needs assurance, and I think the assurance that things will get done is the letter of credit, especially with the letter of credit being so large. I mean, I would think, extending the meetings to another date, for final plat approval would behoove the town or the client in this matter. I think the letter of credit is the key factor here.
If I may, though, I think we've gotten away from approval when there's pending issues. We've done this not that long ago, a couple weeks ago, as a matter of fact. Something was put on hold because there was pending issues that weren't taken care of. So I don't think it's the desire for anyone to hold your progress up, but I think we need to have a standard of.
I agree, and I would just as soon have a special meeting May 1st. You have your ducks in a row. Don tells us, they're quacking in a good row, and we can go ahead. If not, then you're gonna have to go all through your process. We're not the ones holding this up. If I remember right, the whole first year, nothing was done. Or very little, if anything, so now we're at the end of the first extension and only extension. So I think that's a good game plan. So you know what has to be done. You got to May 1st, that meeting, to get it done to the satisfaction of Don, so he will tell us that, yeah, it's okay, we can approve it, and then go forth with this $473,445.50 letter of credit. Any discussion on that? Yes.
We have almost $500,000 in assurance from this property owner. And I don't disagree with you, Heather, at all. I agree with you 110%. We have all the assurance we need. And unfortunately, Mother Nature has not been good to this situation. There are some issues. They have to get it right, or we have the money to fix it.
Well, here's the caveat.
Okay?
The letter of credit is primarily tied to the water main and frontage improvements on 141st. It doesn't cover storm sewer, it's all private on this property. So, and soil erosion control for that matter. So pulling a letter of credit to fund something else may not work. I think the purpose of the letter of credit at full value is more of a, I don't know if you want to call it just a penalty, but I don't know if you could pull it to fix what's wrong out there right now.
473 is not enough to fix everything.
No, it's plenty in dollar amount. I just
Okay.
don't know legally if you can pull it to fix something it's not earmarked for.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I mean, the letter of credit applies to,
Okay, well, not
Specific
enough is not enough.
Like I said, monetarily wise, yeah, that's probably plenty to fix their issues out there, but it's not, the issues are stormwater issues. Very little of that letter of credit is tied to stormwater. It's primarily water main and roadway improvements that are
Okay.
public improvements. Their stormwater, which is the issue, is a privately owned system.
Could it be added as a condition of an approval?
Yeah, we can add a line item in there probably. Typically, we do have a soil erosion control line item for, say, residential, because those detention basins are tied to a public system. And we have a soil erosion control lump sum built into those. This one we don't.
I think the town still has power here on this one, and they will not issue a building permit I mean, they can hold the building permit for an extended amount of time until things are, constructed and stabilized to the satisfaction of the town. So there are other mechanisms, and I guess another point here, if there's a stop work order on the MS4 permit, if we're not able to keep going, then I think we're in a corner here.
Stop work order accept stabilization practices to fix the deficiencies. That's the way it's noted. So no more site work, but anything related to getting it stabilized and up to compliance MS4-wise you can do.
Which in regards to that, we wouldn't release a building permit until that stop work order is lifted anyway. It would be held until such time.
I think the town has the ultimate power here, especially to keep things, erosion control, to be stabilized, again, with the building permit. I don't know if it behooves anybody to not move forward.
I don't wanna hold it up. I'm just trying to figure out how we're covered.
Well, for me, it's not about the money. I believe that they're going to do the right thing here. However, we had a conversation about not issuing approvals if there was violations. And an MS4 violation, like you're describing, seems like a pretty big violation. So whether it's big or small, the point is that we have a violation and we have an approval that's desired. I thought we had a understanding about that.
Generally speaking, the violation, is that for the on-site portion, or is it for the railroad property in this particular case?
No, we're not finding you or recommending a stop order because you're working off your property. That's an issue in its own right.
Correct.
But that's causing significant issues on your site. Yes, we did request that pipe be uncovered because you were working outside of your property boundary, but it should have been done responsibly and it wasn't. Can't just open a culvert, a 27-inch culvert, and expect that to be okay. There wasn't enough measures in place to open that up as full as you guys did, or as full as your client did. That caused severe issues on your site, and now it's off your site, which is an even bigger issue. So it's all together. And you have a substantial amount of area that goes through the middle of your site.
So, Mr. Posen, the special meeting that's in the future, do you have a belief that this is gonna be all resolved by then?
To get it resolved, the contractor will be out there Monday, get it satisfactory, but you gotta seed and blanket, and, there is time to all that. I know my client's committed to getting it done prior to May 1st. It's...
Mother Nature doesn't work for any of us.
Yes.
Russ, I'm not expecting stuff to be vegetated and germinated. I know that's unrealistic, but, stuff has to be done correctly to even get to that step. There was some erosion control put out there, but it's just like somebody threw it down. It has to be done effectively or else it's not gonna do anything. And I know he's hired outside companies, but what they've done so far has not fixed the problem, or even gotten close to fixing it. That's the problem.
It sounds like, yeah, his contractors are causing him, and maybe he's not, and they're not taking this situation seriously. You think $3,000?
The contractor will definitely have to have a conversation with the inspector to make sure they're on the same page. I believe that's a no-brainer and would be, I'd be on the horn with, my client should be on the horn with them immediately for that, to make sure they're talking to the inspector.
And we're more than willing to meet you out there. We're with any developer.
Well, yeah.
So, we typically give a 10 business day turnaround to fix stuff, or at least, get a schedule in place that will fix it. This is beyond that. It needs to be fixed ASAP. We don't routinely do this large of a fine back-to-back and a stop order on top of it. That's uncommon.
And I'm sure we're all considerate to Don's comments here, and I certainly want to err on the side of caution, so I'm going to make a motion to defer this item until May 1st and have a special public meeting May 1st to consider what happens between now and then to get this in a better position to possibly approve on May 1st.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion by Mr. Parker to defer to May 1st to a special meeting, public hearing, and seconded by Mr. Wilkenine. Any discussion on that motion? If not, roll call, please.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Mr. Carnahan?
Yes.
Mr. Hunley?
Yes.
Ms. Sensauer? Yes. Mr. Wilkening?
Yes.
Mr. Capura?
Yes, motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. The inspector, should I have the contractor call you, Don, or call your inspector?
Vanessa, I'll get you guys in contact with her.
Number 2, Joyful Acres, final plat, owner petitioner Lindsay Porter, 6425 West 145th Avenue, Cedar Lake, Indiana. Cindy of 6425 West 141st Avenue, Cedar Lake, Indiana. Petitioner is requesting the final plat for a one-lot subdivision and waiver from the 30-day requirement between preliminary plat and final plat, with the town withholding signatures until after the 30 days. Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Jack Halls from DBG, representing the petitioner, Lindsay Porter, on this project. Joyful Acres is a 6+ acre parcel just on the south side of 101st, near the east side of the town limits. This was a vacant parcel, previously had a home on it, was taken down. There was a lot of talk about what might happen there. All that stuff has been rescinded, withdrawn. They've decided that it's probably not the spot for them to be, and but they would continue to anybody who's going to buy this property, they need to have a one-lot subdivision in order to build a house on it, which would be the desire. It's zoned, I believe, R2, and so, you know, doing a one-lot subdivision assures that somebody can petition your building department for a building permit and proceed with home construction. So we've gone through a primary plat process and received approval on that, and we presented a final plat. I believe Don has a review letter that states everything's in order on this matter, with subject to some waivers that are traditional on a one-lot subdivision. And so we're looking forward to your review comments and your decision this evening.
Just a little history for you. That property was owned by my brother, who was he's a retired Cedar Lake cop. And when he owned it, it was 10 acres instead of 6.
Shrunk, huh?
The other owners sold off 4 acres.
Too much water.
That's water. Okay. Don, you got any comments on that?
We have no further comments. The waivers that Jack mentioned, they were noted at preliminary plat, so.
Building department, any comments?
No, we're all good on the building department side.
We had vetted this at the work session here, and we normally don't do this, but there's 3 days lag between the 30 days and the meeting comes before the 30 days is up by 3 days previously. So we had discussed this, and we had decided that we would approve it with holding it until 30 days are up, and then the town or whoever has to sign the documents can go ahead with that. So I'm still in favor of that. Do we have any other discussion on that?
No, I think that fits the situation.
No further discussion, then I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the final plat for one-lot subdivision and a waiver of the 30-day requirement between preliminary plat and final plat, with the town withholding signatures until after the 30 days.
Motion made by Mr. Wilkening.
I'll second it.
Who got in first? Mr. Becker? Mr. Becker second. All right. Any discussion on that motion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Mr. Carnahan?
Yes.
Mr. Hunley?
Yes.
Ms. Sensauer?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkening?
Yes.
Mr. Capura?
Yes, motion carries 7-0.
Thank you very much.
You bet. Number 3, Dairy Queen, site plan, owner Ted Vineyard, 9917 West 133rd Avenue, Cedar Lake, Indiana. Petitioner, Hampshire Builders, 12028 North 200 West Wheatfield Avenue, Indiana. Vicinity of 9917 West 133rd Avenue, Cedar Lake, Indiana. Petitioner is requesting a site plan approval for an addition and remodel for the existing Dairy Queen. Good evening.
Good evening. Adam McAlpine, 398 East, 400 North. McAlpine Consulting. I'm a sub-consultant for Hamster Group. We brought this to the work session 2 weeks ago. And just a recap, Dairy Queen is looking to improve their site, the building, and improve circulation around the parking lot. But due to the nature of the proposed improvements, it kicks the category of this project into a requirement to comply with the stormwater ordinance of the town, which involves studying the site and excavating a detention basin and managing the stormwater runoff. All of the runoff sheet flows to the south. There are no buried storm sewer pipes, so we're proposing a detention basin at the southern end of the property in that wooded area, and excavating some swales on the east and west sides of the parking lot. The plans have been submitted to Don. He's provided us with comments, about 10 or 11 of them. As I look at them, and I got some clarification on the water main prior to the meeting, I think I can get these comments resolved in 1 week and get this back to Don for another review. As I see them, many of them are clarifications and just revisions and just points that Mr. Oliphant wants to see on the plans, and definitely I can do that. I would request your approval this evening, conditioned on satisfying these engineering comments.
You okay with that, Don?
Yeah, I mean, it's the first stormwater review we did for it, but they're minor in nature. I don't think it should be anything to hang them up. I think Adam will get them done.
I think so too.
Building department have any comments?
No, we have the building permit and was getting it prepped and ready in case there was approval tonight, and if not, I can continue holding it in my office. But we have reviewed it, we had no comments.
Any other discussion by the commissioners?
Don, I had a question. The existing pond, is that supposed to be a wet bottom pond, or is that supposed to be a dry bottom pond?
No, it's most likely, I don't even know if there's really an existing pond there. It's more like a depression.
Well, there was a pond there once, but
It wasn't wet. There's no way.
Okay.
It was only about
so
a foot and a half deep.
so once it's modified, it should be good?
It will be
And
much better.
everybody to the south?
It'll be much better. It'll connect directly into the Summer Winds storm sewer system through a river easement back there.
And that has to be maintained, mowed and everything?
Yeah, technically the easement's on the actual lot in Summer Winds to the south, so they're actually connecting off their parcel onto Summer Winds, but Summer Winds has a 25-foot drainage utility easement back there.
Okay.
We have a water main running through there. They have a rear storm sewer running through there. Those lots were kind of, that storm sewer size to take this area anyway, so it all sheet flows to the south. So
Okay.
it should be better. It should all be interior connected now.
Okay. I have nothing else.
And
Any
just-
other discussion?
Just to confirm, everything on here looks to be, to me, is related to the.
Yeah, just the storm sewer, and this is our first crack at it, so the comments that are on there are pretty minor, nothing that would change anything really at all.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Then I'll entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve site plan approval based on Don's letter dated April.
Yep.
Do you want that cited specifically, or just citing the letter, is that good enough?
Yeah, I think if you cite the letter, I think it's part of the record already. I think that should be fine, as long as it's contingent on it.
I'll second his motion.
Motion made by Mr. Becker to approve, seconded by Mr. Parker. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Mr. Carnahan?
Yes.
Mr. Hunley?
Yes.
Ms. Bittauer?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkeny?
Yes.
Mr. Kokora?
Yes, motion carries 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 4, store safe preliminary plan. Owner petitioners, Store Safe of Cedar Lake LLC, 5301 Dempster Street, Suite 300, Spokane, Illinois. 60077, vicinity of 13649 Wicker Avenue, Cedar Lake, Indiana. Petitioner is requesting a preliminary plat for a one-lot subdivision. Legal's in order.
They are.
You may proceed.
Wonderful, thank you. Jack Hulls from DPG, representing the petitioner. Mr. Dorsey is in the room back there if you have any questions specifically for him. We presented this at a work study about a month ago. So there's two parcels, you can see the dark blue and the light blue. They're both meets and bounds. And improvements are being planned currently for this site. We're in conversations with the BZA on some different matters. But irrespective of that, we still need to do a one-lot subdivision in order to create a legal lot of record so we can actually proceed with those improvements. And so that's the exercise we're in right now. We've submitted a primary plat, submitted it to Don. I believe he's made up review comments, and we've addressed those, and I believe that's what you have in your packet. So we want to hear the public's comments on this, and so this is a public hearing, and your comments as well.
Don, any comments?
We had 3 minor comments on our April 11th letter. One would be to verify the existing location of the sanitary sewers throughout the parcel. Second would be to verify if the existing detention basin will be maintained on site. That one's just kind of a Lakeview Industrial Park actually provided detention for the larger of the 2 parcels, not the fronting parcel. And then that a site plan review come before Plan Commission as well in the future.
And you have 4 engineering waivers to be considered.
I think you're looking at the wrong one, Bob. Maybe not. Which one's on there? No, I think you're looking at the wrong one, Bob.
Oh, yeah. I jumped ahead to the next one. I'm sorry.
So there's a sanitary sewer that runs along the south property line. That's those sewers, we do know where they are at. We actually have a copy of an unrecorded sanitary sewer easement that we've shown on the plan, I believe, that runs kind of on that diagonal on the east side of the light blue parcel. We believe that the sanitary sewer manhole may be in maybe some infrastructure or a patio or something on that parcel that is cut out there. So we have to schedule to get that, but we're confident that it's going to be in that easement.
We can verify that.
Yeah, and we can clear, and easement dedications are going to happen on the final plat. So we've shown an easement, and if we need to adjust it, we'll do that. Similarly with the detention pond, there, when we were going through the Lakeview Business Park design, we were unsure if that was actually going to stay that way because there was common ownership at that time. As the site plan continues to develop, we're deciding, one of the things that we're vetting out is whether that detention pond could be reused for the front half or front third of the parcel. And as those plans become more firm, then on the final plat, if we need to dedicate an easement for that detention facility, then that's where that will show up. At this point, we don't anticipate that, but it's entirely likely that it will be there. So, and then, based on future action from the BZA, we will proceed with site plans for your consideration, and which will coincide more than likely with that final plan.
Yep.
Those 3 items.
They're ministerial. No.
Okay. We have a easement, Jack, a couple of remonstrators.
Good.
Are there any remonstrators for or against this petition? Any remonstrators for or against? Anybody online?
No, sir.
Seeing none? We're closed. Building department, any comments?
We have no comments on the preliminary plat, and at the BZA was deferred to the May meeting, but anything with the BZA is going to be discussed with the site plan, so
Okay, I'm gonna read a short email I got from Chief Wilkeny. One of my concerns about the storage place on 41 is that we required him to extend a water line to the storage development. Not sure what the distance from the Taco Bell to the development is, but could we have the developer extend that water line to the storage be considered? The storage place without a water supply creates problem due to water, what people store in them in the event of a fire. So in other words, he's saying it's like a fire hazard, not having, I guess, a hydrant there or what have you. Now, I understand there is water on the property, right?
Yeah, there's a well actually right next to the office building, to the south of it. That would be at your discretion, whether you require that. We would, like to have that considered at site plan, so that we can make plans to do that as part of, any future buildings that we do.
What
To address the fire chief's comment,
Oh,
if you require.
yeah, I just want you to be aware of it right
Sure.
now.
Okay,
Because that here should not affect what we do tonight,
yeah, okay.
okay? But definitely, we want you to consider it,
You're
or
putting
your
that
client to
on notice.
consider it, and see what they say, and what have you. And like he states, he doesn't know the distance, nor do I, but it's a fur piece. And the main reason for that is fire safety, so.
And weren't we told about the property owner adjacent to him, his well is on their property?
Yeah, the owner was here of the property north of him, and he said his well is on a property where they want to build.
And then we also had discussion about the parking of the vehicles back there on the stone, right?
Yes, we don't want them to park on the gravel, but that has nothing to do with preliminary plat.
Correct, and we understand that those are all site plan matters that
Sure.
need to be addressed.
Sure.
Yeah,
But-
that'll be vetted at site plan, and most likely it's probably gonna come from Lakeview. It's a closer connection point. But the water main would likely come from Lakeview, not Taco Bell. It's a lot closer. Yeah.
Whatever, but all I want is the consideration of the client being aware of what that, and then what Bob mentioned, it's good to have it in the,
In the
you know,
record, yeah.
bring it up every so often so that we know what we're talking about and what we're expecting, whether that's feasible or not. And some items we'll find out.
Yeah.
Okay? Any other discussion from the commissioners?
I had a question for Ashley. Is there any documentation on what was approved there back in the late 80s?
Still digging and still researching. I hope to have
So we don't-
something by the next BZA.
So we don't know if it's being used appropriately or not.
I will have something when it comes back in front of the plan commission for site plan, and I hope to have something for the BZA next month. It is, quite interesting going back through old ordinance books and trying to look through them and see what was allowed back in the 1980s and trying to find those permit records, so I'm doing some digging.
I'm curious about what was approved.
Yeah.
Not what the ordinances were.
Well, it's gonna kind of be part of what it was, is depending on what was allowed back in the ordinance, was it allowed by right back in the 80s, and then the ordinance changed? Or was it something that was approved by the BZA back in the 80s? So I'm having to go through the ordinances, and then I'm gonna have to go through the minutes book. So it's a pretty extraneous task right now, because I have to go through all those items.
So what on this property is in front of the BZA right now?
The request in front of the BZA is to continue utilizing the back as parking, to continue the outdoor storage along the property, waiver from the lights in the back where the gravel is, waiver from screening. Jack, wasn't there one more thing?
So it's the paving, the lighting, and then the screening on the
Okay.
north
So
side.
those three items.
Yeah.
So Mr. Deutmeyer, the BZA can approve those waivers?
We're seeking variances. That's what's in front of the BZA, is a variance.
Variance of the subdivision control ordinance requirements.
Correct, because as I understand it, presently, if they want to park back there, the zoning ordinance requires it to be paved, and they're seeking a variance from that provision to allow
Doesn't
parking.
that, isn't that from here though?
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's a variance of use or developmental variance, I don't know. Which, are
Developmental.
those developmental there? So that can only be granted by the BZA.
Waiver of lights and
No, the variance.
the variance.
I don't think there's any waivers part of this, Jack, correct me if I'm wrong, there's no waivers here related to lighting or parking or anything like that, are there?
No, it's all in front of the BZA because it's all part of the zoning ordinance.
Yeah, so it's not the subdivision control ordinance, it's the zoning ordinance that
Okay.
specifically states that we have to do certain things, like when you have a business zone against a residential zone, we have to screen.
I got it. I just wanted it on record and I wanted to be sure.
Yeah.
Okay, any other discussion? Commissioner's decision.
I make a motion, we approve the preliminary plat and site plan review.
Oh, this is just preliminary plat, not site plan.
Okay, preliminary plat
For one lot subdivision.
for one lot subdivision.
Have a motion by Mr. Hunley to approve,
I'll second it.
second by Mr. Parker.
Is it
Any
conditioned,
discussion?
is it conditioned on Don's letter?
Yeah, might as well. April
11th.
11th.
Okay.
I concur.
Okay, contingent upon Don's letter of April 11th, 2024. Roll call, please.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Mr. Carnahan?
Yes.
Mr. Hunley?
Yes.
Ms. Stetshauer?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkerson?
No.
Mr. Capero?
Yes, motion carries 6-1.
Thank you very much.
Number 5, Creeth and Carlin preliminary plat, owner Jeffrey Thomas and Julie Faith Carlin, 5030 West Hunter's Lane, Crown Point, Indiana. Petitioner Corey Keats, Unica Design and Build, 2700 Valparaiso Street, Unit 1506, Valparaiso, Indiana. Vicinity of 694970 West 129th Avenue, Cedar Lake. Petitioner is requesting a preliminary plat for one lot subdivision for a single-family home residence. Are legals in order, sir?
They are.
Okay.
Good evening, Corey Creek, Unique Design Build, 2700 Valparaiso Street, Unit 1506, Valparaiso. We were in a couple weeks ago for our exploratory, kind of where we're moving forward with our preliminary plat. Don had got us a letter about 2 days after that with Turenga. Turenga then adjusted the plat and provided him with final plat and final site plan. So I'm looking for our public hearing on moving this property forward to create this one lot, and hopefully a positive feedback from the commission.
Okay, Don, do we have any comments?
Issued a letter on April 11th, really just with the kind of similar waiver considerations for park dedication, tree placement, stormwater detention, and sidewalks. Other than that, everything else is in concurrence.
Okay, we have a seat for a minute, and I'll call for remonstrators. Are there any remonstrators for or against this petition? Come up to the podium, state your name and address, please.
Tim Knack, 6800 West 126th Avenue, Cedar Lake.
Okay.
I live on the farm, Hoosier Registered Farm, right across the street. It's unclear to me, oh, there it is now. There is this is an odd-shaped lot, and it's got water ravines going all through it. And I think Mr. Carnahan probably knows a lot about that, because he's been in that area. Anyhow, there's a swale in front of our farm that, by the way, I've got some pictures that, if you want to see. I don't have enough for everybody, but I do have 2 sets. We can pass them.
Yeah, very well.
Don, we're looking at this gentleman's property, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
the
okay.
current application.
And you got pictures of yours or his?
No, his.
I'll just pass them down the line. Okay, you can continue on.
Number one, well, let me explain first. There's a swale that goes in front of our farm and ends with a pipe that goes under 126th Avenue and then empties into his lot. And that's picture one. You can see the culvert that the water empties into, and I guess you call it the grate that's been cut in the curb.
Right.
So, and the rest of those pictures show the actual stones and stuff like that that Cedar Lake has put in. My question is, because it's such an odd-shaped lot, I don't know how he's gonna build a single-family home there without disturbing that water runoff, that storm runoff. And there's several of those, and it goes back about 100 feet or so, and then it starts going east, and I think it probably goes all the way to Fairbanks. Now, if he's required to put in a sidewalk, it seems to me like he's gotta have a provision to keep that culvert the way it is, so that it goes underneath that new sidewalk.
He's asking for a waiver for the sidewalk.
Okay. A waiver for he doesn't have to put one in?
Correct.
Okay. So that's my only question. If he can build a house there, or whatever he's building there, without disturbing that water runoff ravines that's on each side of it, I got no problem.
Well, town engineer is going to look at it if he hasn't already, and he's gonna have to tell him how he can, or where he can put the house, or how he can go about it without disturbing, or how he has to make new drainage, or what have you, so that it doesn't, so it doesn't disrupt the flow.
He either doesn't disturb it, or
Correct.
provides for it in some way.
Correct, and that's what our town engineer will do, we'll make sure that the water still flows,
Yeah,
whether it's in the path it is on now, or if it has to create, the builder has to create a new path.
Okay.
Okay.
And I do think that, culvert that runs over underneath Fairbanks and goes into the ditch does eventually wind down to that.
Yeah, and there's a lot of water, because that swale that Cedar Lake made in front of our farm ends with that pipe, and then that pipe goes under the road and empties into this property where he wants to build.
Yeah,
There's
Mr.
a lot of
Knapp,
water that goes there.
if you take a look at the screen, they actually have where the house is gonna be on that property, it's right up here. So that ravine kinda skirts really isn't on his property, it's on his northern property. And kinda, your culvert comes under here. So he's been told to record a drainage easement over that limit, so he can't even build in it.
I can't hear you.
I said he has to record a drainage easement, which will be on this plat, so he can't even build within that drainage way.
Okay, as long as he doesn't disturb the water drainage, I have no problem.
Sure, and that's what the engineer's for, you can have your pictures back, sir.
Okay.
What do you want first?
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
And thanks for bringing the pictures.
Any other administrators for or against?
Nobody online either.
Administrations are closed. Building department, any comments?
No, we had no comments on this preliminary plat, and with the fact that it's being gone through in engineering, hopefully everything will be good when it comes time for the building permit.
Commissioners, any discussion?
Just to summarize, the water that this gentleman was just talking about is gonna go north of that home.
Yeah,
Nothing should be disturbed.
No, only a small portion is on this gentleman's first parcel.
Like me show it to you here.
That's right here.
As long as Don's good, I'm good.
And that's actually enclosed in a drainage easement, and really the northern finger is actually on the northern property limit, really. He's building, he'll be upwards of 15 plus feet above the bottom of that ravine.
Okay.
Any other discussion?
No, sir.
Well, Commissioner's decision.
I'd like to make a motion, we approve the preliminary plat for one lot subdivision for a single-family residential home at the address of 6949 126th Avenue, Cedar Lake.
You make that contingent on our
Contingent on,
411 letter?
Don's letter
In your letter.
from April 11th, 2024.
I'll second that.
Have a motion by Mr. Vulcanine and seconded by Ms. Deschauer. Roll call, please. Just a minute. Go ahead.
Should there be anything in there that says that the drainage is not affected?
That's gonna be taken care of with the easements and then the building department review at building permit level. Shouldn't be a problem.
So it won't be a problem, won't be obstructed?
Nope, he's not allowed
Okay.
to build in his easements.
That's why I asked that out loud.
Okay.
Okay, Bob?
Yeah.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Mr. Carnahan?
Yes.
Mr. Hunley?
Yes.
Mrs. Sessauer?
Yes.
Mr. Wolfgang?
Yes.
Mr. Farquhar?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Thank you. Number 6, Kubel preliminary plat, owner Martha Ann Kubel, trust dated 1/31/92, 13305 Monroe Street, Moore Street, Cedar Lake, Indiana. Petitioner Brian Kubel, 13305 Moore Street, Cedar Lake, Indiana. City of 13135 Moore Street, Cedar Lake, Indiana. Petitioners request a preliminary plat for a one-lot subdivision with one outlot. Are legals in order?
They are.
Good evening, Brian.
I can get it up.
Take your name and address, please.
Brian Kubel, 7600 West 136th Court, Cedar Lake.
Yeah, I heard it a dozen times, but tell us again.
You want it again?
Yeah, we need it once more.
Okay, Brian Kubel,
No.
What?
What you want to do?
Well, I was waiting for her to get, now we got it, okay. So what I'm gonna do is, make a one lot subdivision, basically divide the property into two pieces. The upper half will go with the building that I currently have for sale. The bottom half will remain, ours, which I wanna use for parking for the Cedar Lake Shopping Center that we have, and,
We do have this in here.
what's that?
This is a picture that shows the parking lot and the building.
Well, that's,
We
Yeah.
have it.
okay, so that's basically what we wanna do right there.
Okay. Don, anything?
April 10th letter. This one has a substantial amount of engineering waivers to be considered just because it's an existing building that predates a lot of our ordinances. So it would be public frontage improvements, park dedication, tree placement, stormwater detention, sidewalks, screening, and lighting.
I want to ask you a question since you just brought that up.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody buys this property and wants to put a business in there of some sort, say a coffee shop,
Are you talking about where there is a building that's for sale or the parking lot?
where there is a building that's for sale. Will all those waivers follow this building?
Yes, unless you put a caveat on some of those. For instance, lighting, would be my biggest one probably, or even screening, because there is residential directly to the east. I guess those two would be kind of part and parcel to each other. If you ever want to see some of that stuff upgraded to current standards,
Yeah,
like sidewalks, we don't have the room for it there, to be truthful.
lighting and screening wouldn't be an issue. If somebody is potentially interested in purchasing that property, I would just like for them to know on the front side that is what I'd call legal non-conforming unless there's something listed with the approval.
Ryan, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it would carry.
The legal non-conforming?
Yeah,
As long as
well,
they
the
use-
waivers.
Yeah, the waivers would, for sure,
Yeah.
because they'd be part of the plat.
Does that essentially give legal non-conforming carte blanche moving forward, or unless there's a 6-month vacancy?
Yeah, that's the thing, you could vacate it.
Yeah, that would be the only,
A 6-month vacancy from the approval?
in the use.
Yeah, if the
Oh,
use ceases
once-
for 6 months.
Once the actual use was approved,
We're there, aren't we?
kinda.
I would argue that resets when you make it illegal out of record in some respects.
and they've received variances for approval of the building fitting where it is to date. Additionally, the other caveat in the ordinance is if it becomes a seasonal business, we do give a year for a seasonal business before it loses its legal non-conforming status.
We did did something unconventional, this one just do the waivers, the amount of waivers, that we put a little verbiage at the bottom of it, that additional construction on the proposed parcels will require conformance with all current ordinances. Basically saying if there's an expansion to the building, if there's an expansion of the parking lot, then we need to talk again. But if it stays within its current footprint, then I think we're okay as it sits today. But if we do substantial improvements to it footprint-wise, then that's where we have to discuss if certain things need to be brought to current standard.
And then if they increase it or decrease it by 25%, it'll be back in front of the Plan Commission for site plan review.
I'm looking at this picture on the iPad, and this is 13135. That's the address of the whole parcel.
Yes.
Correct?
And that's where the building's located.
Right, so there's a small section that splits the existing building in half. What is this? What is that yellow?
That's how the lots are currently separated. That's part of the reason why he's going through the platting process, is to make it correct.
So, okay, so the building is gonna have one key number?
Right, and then the parking lot will have a separate key number, and that'll be done after final plat is reported, and the auditor will get that to me.
Okay, so.
If you look at the current, that picture up there.
Right.
It's two parcels, and the one parcel's tiny, that splits the building right now, the light
Yeah,
blue.
okay. So what is the address of the parking lot then?
That's one of the comments on our letter. We need to have an address for that parcel, which I
And,
think we're working out with Chief.
Yep, working that out with the public safety.
Would it be 132nd Place?
The address will change. I think it's gonna end up being, he doesn't have it on this one. It will change, and it will be a 132 address.
Okay.
All the addressing in that area is kind of wonky in general, as in it's not addressed correctly. The good news is that pretty much every parcel south of that to the hardware store is vacant. So when it comes in for a building permit, because it's a site plan, it'll trigger site plan, because it's commercial, it'll trigger site plan review. But additionally, whenever a vacant parcel comes in and it's a blank slab, we can have that permit or that address updated with the building permit so that it becomes correct for public safety.
Okay, well, I think this is a great idea. I just wanted to make sure we don't have,
Yeah, the other comments
something wonky hanging out there.
The other comments you had outside of the waivers, one was the dedicated additional right-of-way, so we get a lot of the existing roadway into the right-of-way, actually.
I was just gonna ask that, is that something that you've agreed to? It's
Yeah.
they're recommending an additional 5 foot of right-of-way be dedicated on Moore Street in 132nd Avenue. The additional pavement at the southeast corner of Morris and 132nd Avenue shall be enclosed within public right-of-way dedication.
Don't exactly know what you're saying.
So effectively, your western property line, your northern property line would shrink by 5 feet?
Which way now? I'm sorry, you got the top, the bottom, and the side.
The top and the left side, yeah.
The top and the left side.
We would get 5 feet more right away from each, because our roadway actually sticks into your property a little bit.
I know, because when it rains, I got a gully
Yeah,
there.
so if we ever do improve that street in the future, it is on our list.
What's that?
If we ever do improve that street in the future, we would likely install storm sewer through there, and we want the road in our right of way.
You're talking about, not storm sewer?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So we prefer that existing roadway limits are in a public right of way, so that's the reason for the
So
comment.
if they needed to work on that?
Yeah.
We'd have to grant them,
Yeah, well, this would
Would it be like
solve
an
that
easement?
problem.
Would it be an easement, or?
No, we're actually taking right away. So your lot would shrink slightly.
And that's one of our capital improvement projects too.
It's one of the subdivisions on the
That
list.
whole area needs to be reconstructed, and you'd have to have it to reconstruct it properly with
Yeah.
drainage.
Yeah, but you just have to do what you have to do, but then it would go back to where it was, right? I mean, it wouldn't.
We need
change the
curbs
property.
in there,
Huh?
curbs
Yeah.
in there.
Probably pipe in the ground as well.
What's that?
Pipe in the ground as well,
So the lot would shrink some,
a little bit.
A little bit.
5 feet? on the whole west side?
West side and north side. Just because the existing road kind
First time
of,
that's the first
Yeah.
time I've heard this.
I brought up Stuart, didn't have a problem with that. He just wanted to know that that doesn't further restrict the easements, and I said it wouldn't. It would just shrink the easements accordingly. So you would still have your same building setback. I mean, your setbacks would be through your variance anyway, so it doesn't change that. But it's a typical request we do with existing roads that kind of jive outside of our current right-of-way. We like to have everything in our right-of-way in case we need to work on it.
So as it sits right now, you don't have a right of way to go in and do this stuff?
Yeah, if you look at the map we had up there, the shaded areas are the existing road. And you can see, especially at the intersection, it cuts your corner. That black line is your current property limit, and our road kind of clips the corner pretty bad, and down here it spills out as well.
That's quite a bit on the top there.
Yeah. It's specifically the corner, and then it's really close to edges, so we try to contain it all in case we have to do improvements, so we don't have to come back to you and get easements or, you know, right away later. Just try to clean it up a little bit. You've got less tax assessments.
So Don, just so I'm clear, 5 feet on 132nd Avenue
On top, yeah.
on top, and then 5 feet on Morse
Yep.
all the way south.
And then you can see down at 132nd place, the reason we're not requesting that is because we have a fair amount of
Right.
space.
Well, as I look at the top, it seems to me that the actual roadway is way far north from his building.
Well, you can see the gray area is the edge of pavement. It's literally on his property line.
Fine, I got you. I'm just saying the whole roadway is on the 132nd Avenue is shoved way far north into those other driveways, right?
It's way far south. Offset a little bit, into him a little bit. So if you look at what's up there right now,
Oh, right.
Yeah.
But I'm saying the legal roadway, it's there. I'm looking at the yellow lines.
You can see a little yellow line going through his property there.
Right.
yeah, I mean, it's very similar to what the GIS shows. GIS actually makes it a little worse.
I'd like to get a plan together to reconstruct that area, and I'm sure Bob probably would too.
Oh, yeah, I've got so many people up in that neighborhood on my back. If I haven't heard it once, I've heard it 100 times.
I didn't know that,
Yeah, that's
I
subdivision
knew that.
going up to 10.
I know, this happens everywhere, 'cause I remember.
It's been on the
where I
list for a
lived,
while.
We had to exchange some land at one time to make the agreement that we needed land for drainage
Right,
down on where I live.
yeah.
And this happens probably quite a bit.
It happens a ton.
But then the owner has to agree to this, or how does that work?
Well,
We
it's in,
try to clean these up when we do these one lot
Because
subs.
if I'm gonna sell the property, I'm gonna have to tell the people, whoever buys it, that this is what, this is.
It'll just be it'll be your new property boundary effectively. It'll be shown on the plat, and then it'll just carry with the land.
well, Mr. Kubel obviously has not read your letter.
Apparently not. Stuart has it.
Do you need us to defer?
Huh?
Do you need to defer for like a special meeting, like 2 weeks?
Well, yeah, I'm just not
So you
really
can think
ready.
about it, so you're not.
really ready for this, kinda like.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, you can talk to Stuart
that's
about
why
it.
that's why I'm saying that, if you need to
I mean,
read.
I don't wanna delay what I'm trying to get done either, but we have the property listed, I do have some interest, but this kinda throws a little bit of a monkey wrench in it, a little bit, nothing major.
Will 2 weeks throw you that much off?
To what?
Could we do a special meeting in 2 weeks?
We're having a special
Very
meeting
happy.
anyway.
Yeah, not good for me, because I'm having back surgery on Monday, I'm gonna be down for about 3 weeks.
So do you want to move forward with giving up the 5 feet?
Well, you tell me something about this before. I see you every day.
He could join on Zoom,
I mean,
right?
if it's a 5 feet easement, then that's an easy decision.
He could join via Zoom, he could have it for his engineer here for him.
Yeah, you don't have to be.
We
You
can
could
run
just
it.
be a representative at the next meeting if you want to wait and talk to your.
Is this a special meeting you're talking about, not a regular meeting then?
No, it'll be a regular meeting specially called. Yeah, it'll be a special meeting.
We already have to have a special meeting. for
Yeah.
another-
Normally, our first meeting is a work session, so we don't do any
Of
voting.
this board here?
Yes, unfortunately, we have some things we have to vote on, so we're calling it, it's called a special meeting. So we're voting on other things, so we would just add this to the list.
I can talk to Stuart too. There's other mechanisms we can do besides right-of-way dedication. We prefer that. We can do it through an easement, but I can talk to him.
Easement sounds better.
Easement, you keep your property lines, but
And you pay taxes.
you pay taxes on it,
How
yeah.
much, you know,
It's not much.
I just
I
don't
mean-
wanna throw a monkey wrench in anything in the future, you know. I mean, I don't know what I'm gonna, who I'm gonna sell to, what they're gonna do, and what, you know, what they're gonna
Well, you certainly need to
need,
do.
and I kinda wanna do what's best for everybody, you
Yeah,
know.
well, you certainly need to do some discovery because you didn't know anything about this.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, we actually have a resubmittal from Stuart. We got it on Tuesday. I just haven't looked it up, so I'm assuming that this stuff is already incorporated into it. So if you're not in agreement with, you might wanna talk to Stuart, and then we can talk.
Can you work with Stuart with this?
Yeah, I'll talk to him. There's other ways that we can do it. They're not preferred, like I said, but there's other ways we can get what we,
I mean, I'm not saying we can't.
Yeah.
I'm very much trying to work with the town.
He and I can talk
Do
and-
what's best for everybody, I
Yeah.
don't have a problem.
I'll have him give you a call and just, he can go through it with you. What exactly
So
we're
we
requesting.
wouldn't vote on anything tonight then on one of my,
Not if you don't want us to, or want them to.
but you have to have this to vote on it, is that what you're saying?
It would be our recommendation now without going down a different path. So,
that?
I say it would be our recommendation for the right-of-way dedication. If we're gonna go down a different path, then that's something I would have discussed with Stuart, probably.
If you want to review this, then I think we need a deferral request
Yeah,
from you.
Yeah, I just seen,
But
but I
it's
didn't
gonna be,
know
it's
anything
gonna
about
be,
this.
it's gonna be 5 feet, whether it's a right of way or an easement.
It's gotta be something.
Yeah.
I was thinking it would, you know, if something like this happened to be an easement. I wasn't thinking that, you know, you take the property, because then the guy can't do anything with the property, correct? The property's not theirs anymore, or mine.
I mean, within that 5 foot, you already have a 10-foot drainage utility easement. So that's already limiting to what you can do there, because there's already pole lines in that kind of area, so it's a limited thing anyways, and you're gonna have setbacks, so you really can't build a whole lot in it. It doesn't prevent you from, say, doing a driveway apron or a driveway, something off it. You're restricted in that 5 feet as it is.
She don't have it up there
I
now, but.
can bring it back up.
Why don't you have a seat for,
When you have that, I'll sit down, but, so, it doesn't restrict you from doing anything to the, like, any other part of the property that you wanna do?
No, like, for
Nothing-
example, the 10 feet north of your building, you can see there's a dashed line right here. There's already a 10-foot drainage utility easement platted, or going to be platted in that area, because you have utility poles there. I think your well might be there. So you weren't building anything there anyways,
No.
similar to your
How
west
about on the
line.
east side, like the east side, all that land that's there? is
We
there-
wouldn't, it's not on the east side, we only do it from the north and
The
the
west side.
Yeah.
where your roadway kind of goes around. So like your west line, there's utility poles right on your property line, so the chances of you building that close to utility pole are real slim.
I don't see a problem with it myself. I
Okay.
don't see a problem with it. But I would like to.
If you wanna talk over to Stuart, we can come back in 2 weeks.
But I mean, I don't think this is gonna be a problem.
Okay.
So you don't wanna have us vote on it tonight?
I wanna get going with this, but at the same time, I'd rather at least discuss it with Stuart.
okay, why don't you have a seat
Come up
for a
with
minute, let
something
me call
and-
for remonstrators. All right, you can come back up in a minute.
Okay.
Do we have any remonstrators for or against this? Any remonstrators for or against?
Nobody online either.
Nobody online, your remonstrations are closed. You may come back up, sir. Building department have anything?
No, we have no concerns with this subdivision. Again, I'm working through the addresses with Chief, making sure that everything is gonna be correct in accordance with public safety.
Okay, so you still want to discuss it? So you don't want us to vote on it tonight?
I do, but I don't. I do wanna discuss it just with Stuart, and then I would definitely.
What if we voted on it contingent on all of your comments in your letter getting addressed?
That's fine. I mean,
That way,
I mean, I'll talk to Stuart tomorrow, and if he advises me this and that, I can give you an answer.
well, worst case scenario, you gotta come back in 2 weeks because you don't want to to deal with one of the situations that he has in his life.
He can zoom it too.
He's not gonna be running around and doing
Or Stuart can come.
Yeah,
Or
Stuart,
Stewart would be
or
good.
you can zoom.
Yeah, Stewart would probably do it.
With a contingency, you're moving on, you're probably gonna concur with Stewart, and then we can move on.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, my goal is I wanna get that building occupied. That's what I wanna do, with a good business and as fast as possible. And I have some people that are interested and I just wanna move forward, but I didn't know about this and I would've dealt with it right away. I mean,
Ashley, can you email him Don's letter tomorrow? So he knows exactly what he's looking at.
Yes, absolutely.
so if you're okay with that, and Ryan, you're okay with that,
I'm good with that. I mean, it's the same contingency you always put on letters.
let's just say, for instance, if tomorrow or the next day I come up with, we're okay with this or whatever, and it just just.
as long as you agree to all his contingencies, it's done anyway after tonight.
Well, this is a preliminary plan too.
Here you go, Brian, here's his letter.
We're gonna get another crack at this anyways,
What is it?
for final.
That's his letter.
Okay, I never saw it. Okay, all right.
It's 5 feet either way.
Yeah,
We'll work it out.
so we can clear it up come final plat too.
Okay,
So-
Commissioner's decision.
You want it deferred, or are we going to grant it?
I'm gonna make a motion to approve the one lot subdivision with one outlot, is that correct?
One lot and one outlot, yep.
One lot, one outlot, contingent on all of the issues in Don's letter being addressed.
April 8th.
I'll second it.
Oh, no.
April 10th.
April 10th.
Don's April 10th letter, is that?
Yeah. Motion made by Mr. Parker, seconded by Mr. Wilkening. Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Mr. Carnahan?
Yes.
Mr. Hunley?
Yes.
Ms. Stetauer?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkening?
Yes.
Mr. Capora?
Yes, motion carries 7-0.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Brian. Good luck in your operation.
One question. All these recommendations, do I need to address those also at this, or?
Nope.
Are we just dealing with the road,
We're just dealing with it right away.
all right, thank you. That's all.
Okay. Number 7, Rose Garden Unit 1 through 3, letter of credit amendments.
Plan Commission, this is a request from BMO Bank to remove People's Bank as the advising bank and to put in the letters of credit where we can draw from the letters of credit firm should we do need to pull on these letter of credit. Mr. Austin has reviewed all 3 of these letters of credit and saw no issues or errors with them and advised the Plan Commission to proceed with accepting the amendments to those 3 Rose Garden letters of credit. They're not asking for any reductions or anything like that. It is just removing People's Bank as the advising and putting on where we can pull from their letters of
And
credit.
it's BMO?
It will now be BMO Harris.
I thought we did on this already.
We did sort of with Unit 2. We changed the bank from People's to BMO Harris. They would like to amend it further to completely remove People's from Unit 1 and 3, but also add in where we can pull it from in a local BMO Harris area.
Okay.
So we're gonna do all these letters of credit at one time? There's 3 of them in the packet, that's the reason why.
Yeah, it's just Units 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, it lists 3.
So your motion would be, if it's so to approve, would be to approve the amendment to units 1 through 3 letter of credits.
Okay.
Letters of credit, excuse me.
Okay, need a motion?
Spelling error.
Make a motion to approve Rose Garden Units 1 through 3 letter of credit amendments.
I'll second it.
Motion made by Mr. Parker to approve, seconded by Mr. Wilkening. Roll call, please.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Mr. Carnahan?
Yes.
Mr. Hunley?
Yes.
Ms. Stetauer?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkening?
Yes.
Mr. Capora?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Number 8, Oak Brook Performance Letter of Credit Extension.
So this letter of credit was set to expire on April 8th. Somehow or another, it fell off the radar for my tracking. People's Bank submitted a updated letter of credit, which was accepted by the town council at their first April meeting. The request here is to ratify the approval of the town council. The total amount is $447,000. $420.52, and the expiration date will be October 8th of 2024.
2025.
He
Any
said
discussion?
2024.
Yeah, it's 2024.
That's what the bank says.
That's what the bank has on their letter.
Any discussion?
Is that a typo, or is that correct, incorrect? Do we know?
Doesn't sound right to me that if there's an extension, it should be 2025.
Yeah, when Paul turned it in, he turned it in for October 8th of 2024.
Oh, October 8th.
Okay, you said April.
My apologies.
Yeah, his letter says April,
My
but
apologies.
the letter of credit has an expiration of October 8th.
Okay.
October,
So you
yeah,
get 6 months. Okay, 6 months. Yep, yep.
apologies. Read the long line,
We all square?
all square.
No more discussion, need a motion.
I'll make a motion, we approve the Oak Brook Performance Letter of Credit Extension.
I'll second.
Had a motion by Mr. Wilkening, and seconded by Mr. Parker. Roll call, please.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Mr. Carnahan?
Yes.
Mr. Hunley?
Yes.
Ms. Sensauer?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkening?
Yes.
Mr. Capro?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Update items. 2024-10 Shilling Development, preliminary plat. Yes, sir.
I was here 2 weeks ago, and we discussed that under the update items, you'd like to see where we are at this point in time. Did receive a letter from Don, yes, actually, I opened it this morning. I tend not to open Don's letters at the end of the day.
That's how you want your day, huh?
Why ever would you do that? Why ever would you do that?
Yeah, so, but most of them are, further corrections on, little stuff. There's still some utility items that we're working through. Definitely feel we can work through those items. Prior to our public hearing, we did advertise for the May 1st, public hearing, so we're looking forward to having that, meeting in 2 weeks.
Okay,
All right?
sounds good.
If there's any further questions or anything that you guys have regarding that, then, not, that's the status.
Okay, see you in a couple weeks.
Perfect, thank you.
Cedar Lake Storage, Phase 2 update.
So the Cedar Lake Storage has sent me a signed contract with Site Services to pave Phase 2 and do the work that is needed to be done. And they have continued to provide the photos as directed by the Plan Commission.
They done any paving yet?
Not yet, they just signed the contract with them and got that over to me for our record keeping,
And the deadline for the completion is,
June 15th.
and that's gonna fit what's on the contract?
I did not see what day they plan on paving on the contract. I'll reach out to them and find out what day they have signed the contract for them to come and pave.
But there is a deadline.
Yes, there is a deadline.
Okay.
Beacon Point West, Unit 5, performance letter of credit expires May 19, 2024.
I'm guessing a minor 6-month extension?
Yeah, I sent you guys an email today.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Yes,
Do you have it in your possession?
think so?
6-month extension.
Yes, you did. I haven't seen Paul yet, that's why.
So that'll be on the May meeting. I guess we could put it on the special public if we really wanted to, since we already have it,
Yeah, if it's in a time.
just to get it there.
What's happening now?
We already have it, the letter of credit extension for Beacon Point West, or Beacon 5. So we
It's
can,
Yeah, it's a
we can
fine.
throw it onto the special public meeting if you want, or we can do it at the 15th meeting.
I don't wanna load up special meetings.
Okay, 15th it is.
Do it in normal meetings if it's not an emergency.
I
Okay.
don't think it is.
Yeah, well, it's gonna be 4 days before the expiration, we should be good.
Hanover Community School Corp. performance letter of credit expires May 24th, 2024.
The school has advised me that they will be extending their letter of credit, and I will be working with them on getting that letter received.
Is that gonna be 6 months or a year?
The person who handles that is currently out of office right now, so once he gets back, I will
I'm just
find out.
curious.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're out of office right now, so as soon as they get back in, I'll find out.
Perez, performance letter of credit expires June 14th, 2024.
Mr. Perez came in and spoke with me today. They are still going to go ahead and seek the extension of the letter of credit. I should be anticipating something from their bank. They have worked out something with their buyer. They will hold it for the extension of the year. At the end of the extension of the year, the new buyers will have to transfer the letter of credit to their name.
Number 6, Cedar Lake Storage, performance letter of credit expires July 1st, 2024.
This is the public infrastructure section of the Cedar Lake letter of credit, so this is only the $7,700 one.
Effectively, some paving and then some sidewalk. So the paving should get done when they pave, and that the sidewalk has to.
And the deadline was July or June?
June 15th.
Oh, okay. Number 7, Beacon Point Unit 3, maintenance letter of credit expires July 12th, 2024.
We completed our inspections this week. Public Works has been notified to complete their undergrounds, so we should have our punch list out sometime probably either later this week or early next.
Okay. Number 8, Beacon Point East Unit 4, performance letter of credit expires July 25th, 2024.
That's really dependent on, I think, paving of the phase. So that'll be a quick one.
We'll end up with an extension on that one.
Okay.
I see, I'm not sure if we're at the 80% for that phase yet either.
Yeah, not quite.
And number 9, Beacon Point East Unit 1, performance letter of credit expires July 30th, 2024.
That's the infamous pond. So I think we need to get together with Jack and Jack to kind of get back up to speed with that. But we got till the end of July. Can't really do anything right now with the weather anyway.
Okay. Public comment.
Good evening, Jack Slager with Schilling Development, 8900 Wicker Avenue, St. John. Regarding Lakeside North, Lakeside Original, we submitted a letter yesterday to the town council, and I wanted to read it because it may affect or may require some action from the Plan Commission. Dear Town Council, as you may be aware, at last week's Board of Zoning Appeals meeting, our request for a lot coverage variance for Lakeside Original was unanimously denied. Lakeside is an R2 zone subdivision with all lots exceeding your 10,000 square foot minimum. Your current ordinance allows a maximum coverage of 25% or 2,500 square feet. With many three-car garages approaching 1,000 square feet, this leaves 1,500 square feet allowed for the residents and any covered porches. Many neighboring communities allow up to 50% or no limit at all. Lowell is 40% coverage. Schilling Development strives to exceed the town's minimum requirements in all of our developments, and we require our builders to do the same. We also set higher standards for home size and quality of construction. We regularly spend millions of dollars on infrastructure, roads, sewer, and water lines, which is then turned over to the town. This includes oversized sewer and water lines installed at our expense to facilitate future town growth. Our developments generate permit revenue, property tax revenue, and an increase in the town's assessed value. We realize that the town is trying to control growth while it grapples with infrastructure and funding challenges. However, this decision will have a substantial negative impact going forward. If the builders are not allowed to build the homes that customers want, they will go elsewhere. At least 3 contracts in the last week to build were canceled after last week's meeting, all averaging between $600,000 and $700,000. If the builders are not successful, we have no incentive to develop additional phases or new projects, and we may be forced to abandon our projects or sell them to someone that is willing to build smaller, cheaper homes. We respectfully request that the town council consider amending their zoning ordinance to allow up to 35% lot coverage. Thank you for your consideration. So this was submitted to the town council. As I mentioned, we have an R2 zone subdivision in Lakeside North, and we're struggling with the fact that the builders can't build what they'd like to build in that development. So if the town council will consider a zoning amendment. This would fall under the R2 zoning from 25% to 35%. I believe that the correct process for that would be that it would need to come before the plan commission for a recommendation first. So this body would ultimately decide and make a favorable or unfavorable recommendation to the town council regarding an ordinance amendment. So I wanted to bring that up and see if you had any feedback or if there was any other questions I could answer.
I'm just gonna follow up with what I told you earlier, gonna meet with Dave when he gets back. And, I'd like for you to take a look at that plat and see if there's anything you can do and try to come up with some sort of solution.
Look at what plat?
His plat for Lakeside. See if there's a way to adjust some lot sizes to,
Well, if you adjust lot sizes, then fine, you know, but
I don't know how much work goes into that though, John, to accommodate what something that's already.
The thing here is that we vetted this for a long time. He wanted smaller lots, and now he's in here wanting bigger lots. He needs to decide what size house he's gonna build and come in and tell us what size lot he wants. Not come in after the fact, because builders are showing people bigger houses than what they can put on a lot. That's the builder's problem.
We've
It's
never
not
asked for
ours.
smaller lots. When you say we came in and asked for smaller lots, these are R2 zone lots. These are 80 by 135.
Is that what you asked for originally?
Yeah, yes, Lakeside Original goes back 7 years. It's straight R2 zoning. This is not a PUD. This is straight R2 zoning. These
So
are
there's
the same size
55 lots are in the first phase?
Yeah. Yep.
The original?
Yes, the original plan has not changed from 7 years ago, that's why we're still working on it, but these are the same size lots as Robin Crest, they're the same size lots as Havenwood. I don't know where the 25% came from, but there's many homes in the first phase that were over that, and was never brought up before.
And I talked to Ashley, and she, kept some minutes or something and found that, Rick Eberly had, suggested that we increase it, but I don't remember him ever telling us that.
I don't recall that either, Bob.
And I had her research, every community around us has higher than 25%. We're the only one in the area or the region that has 25%.
30 is pretty well standard across Lake in general standard across most municipalities for a lot coverage. There's some who do a floor area ratio, but that's a different calculation. That's where the total amount of square footage, and that's weird. I'm not familiar with that one, so I'm not going to pretend to be an expert in that one. But 30% is kind of the standard across the board.
Why do we care what other towns have?
Thank you.
We're not followers, we're going to be the leaders. Now, if they want to build a bigger house and it doesn't fit on a lot, make a bigger lot, then the 25% is okay. I don't want to hear about other towns.
Well, how did all the homes in the first, like he said, get away with more than 25%? I built my own home in 2018, had to come for a variance for 28% lot coverage. So
I can't speak to what happened in 2019. My only potential thoughts or assumptions would be that the building department only had a total of 3 people who were reviewing and approving all building permits, reviewing and helping do all variances, all planning applications, all...
Well, that'd be crazy if they just couldn't do math. Like, that's crazy. They did the math on my property, I had to come in here.
In 19, we had over 100 new homes. In 2020, we had over 100 new homes. In 21, it was over 200. So understaffed and not enough people. That, again, that's just my assumption. I wasn't here in 2019.
I had a couple questions. One is, Don, do you recall the answer to the question? How do these other houses that are there are more than 25%?
Handle in the building department.
Okay.
Can't tell you that.
And this is Lakeside This is Lakeside Unit 2, Block 1.
That's what I request, is a variance on.
That's what you're asking,
Yeah,
about.
Yeah,
So-
that's the
so
active section right now.
You mentioned the garages, you mentioned the screened-in porches. Would this lot coverage be just for the existing structure? No, I mean, we're not talking about sheds or anything else, this is for the living space,
Correct,
in
yeah,
theory.
so they can't even get a building permit for the house, the garage, and any porch. They cannot get a building permit because they're over 25%. So
Okay,
I think, from what I've heard, some of them were 28, 29. I don't know that we had any.
I have one sitting on my desk that's 25.2%.
So, but why wouldn't that be a variance issue?
The builder can come in for a variance, right?
That's
Well,
true.
that was
That's
suggested
true.
also.
So the builder can come in for an individual variance, and immediately when we released these lots, builders started to come to me and say, oh, I gotta go for a variance, I gotta go for a variance. We had 4 of the first 7 applied for in that subdivision, said they needed to come for a variance. I said, look, let's head this off right from the start, rather than making the builders all come in for an individual variance, have to pay for the advertising, pay for the legal notices, spend their time. I said, we'll do a blanket variance, the developer will take control of this, we'll do a blanket variance for the whole development, so the builder doesn't have to come in every time they need to get a building permit and get a variance. I wrongly assumed that it was a no-brainer. I said, of course the town's gonna want bigger homes, why wouldn't they approve this? Let me go do it, and all these people were waiting to build their homes for last week's BZA meeting. Well, they watched and saw that it was denied, and by Friday, they were canceling their contracts with their builders, so.
And Schilling went out there and they drilled wells for us, trying to find water so we could have water for our town. They did that at their cost.
And according to their contract, they were supposed to do that, find water, when the first thing was approved.
But
And not at their cost, but don't come up saying that they're such a good guy that they wouldn't spend $250,000 for us and found nothing, because they were supposed to do that.
All right, but, yeah, but he's already said if this doesn't happen, then they may just sell the thing and then we lose the water line going to, Robin's Nest.
I don't like to feel like I'm backed into a corner
I
like
know,
that.
I know.
It makes me feel very uncomfortable, very uncomfortable.
No, I'm just trying to state the facts, and
I don't like
I
that.
don't understand why the town is more open to a development like a Rose Garden, we're completely different than Lennar, we're completely different than a tract builder. All of our builders are custom home builders, they don't have set plans, they'll build whatever people want. So that's the builder that we cater to. We cater to custom home builders that build custom homes. And this is what customers are asking for. They're not asking for bigger lots. They're asking for bigger homes on the lots that we have. So, rather than go through the variance process every time a house comes in at 25.2%.
Here, the problem is you're asking for a blanket variance.
Well, that's already been denied, so we're not asking for that anymore. Now I'm asking for you guys to consider revising your ordinance from 25 on the R2.
That's even worse than a
I
variance.
think there's more discussion need to be had.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, and what you told us before was that there was only 3 or 4 homes that needed this variance,
Right now.
not all 55. So why go for a blanket variance when you only need that many? Those 3 or 4 were pulled out, could have came before the BZA. But if nobody told them that, then shame on them.
Yeah, and I did. Afterwards, I said the BZA left the door open for you
Okay,
guys
we
to
just
come
need
back
more discussion,
with
so
a blanket
that's fine.
for a single variance.
We'll discuss it, I don't know how we'll go about, we'll wait till David gets back and we'll discuss it and see where we go. But right now, well, we're just in public comment anyway.
That's the right thing to do.
And also, I'm told, Ashley, correct me if I misunderstood you, but any duplexes and stuff, they have over 40-foot.
Our RT and RM does allow up to 40% lot coverage.
I believe there's an area.
We're not discussing it here anymore, his comments are set. Let's not go, we can't make any decisions. Hi, good evening, Angie.
How are you?
Fine.
Angeline Michaelajczyk, 12806 Lee Court. I'm going to try my best to keep this short as possible.
The reason that I came here tonight is because, it was discussed in here, we had some issues with some accessories buildings being on some properties, so you had directed, this board had directed the town to, send the the owner of the property, a violation letter in writing, for, 5 days to rectify the situation. I am telling you because Mr. Hunley, Mrs. Dossier, and Mr. Cora, I don't believe that you were at the town council meeting, but this had come up yesterday at the town council meeting.
I watched it yesterday.
Okay, thank you. So I just wanted to update that today is exactly 90 days since that 5-day notice was given, and the town council meeting yesterday said that the town was going to call the property owner and tell them, the town council directed them to remove the building immediately, and I didn't know if there was an update on that. But the reason that I'm here is I just wanted to update those that weren't familiar with the situation.
Okay, thank you for that.
Okay. So is there any update?
Ashley, did you call?
The call was made.
Call was made.
Okay, and the letter was written as well?
Letter was written as well.
Any feedback?
So when can we see some action on this? This has been going on for
The
a long time.
owner was told to have the accessory structure removed immediately. He said that it would get done.
Okay, and our next step is if he don't,
If he does not, and fines don't work, then it goes over to the attorney's office in accordance with the zoning ordinance.
Have the fines been delivered?
Not at this time. Waiting to see how quickly he can get it down. If he doesn't get it down within a day or two, I'll get a fine
But
sent over
this
to
is
him.
the 90 days, right? Why isn't this man getting fined?
There was a request in front of the Plan Commission back in February for additional time to be granted because the owner of the shed had just had major surgery and wanted time to get stuff out. And, again, no time period had been directed at that time. And he was then going to try and come in front of the Plan Commission with a concept plan to parcel out a section of land around the shed so his neighbor could keep the shed. With the direction of the town council, he was told that that option is not available. The shed needs to be removed immediately, and that's the end of it.
Did you ever have a permit for that shed? Do we have a permit on file for that shed?
No.
I don't understand why he's not getting fined.
I don't either.
Has there been any determination that there's other ordinance violations, stormwater, et cetera?
I've not had a chance to look into all that yet today.
Okay.
I will add it on my list for tomorrow.
I'd like to see this put to the top of the list because this has been going on. There was one violation, and he might have a bad back. She suffered illnesses and financial losses from this too, so I think
You're
we see this
every week,
expedited as
so
fast as we can.
Well, the one thing that I failed to mention a moment ago is that in the town council hearing yesterday, it was said by the town that this board gave the owner longer time to figure out how to divide out the land so that he could keep the shed on it.
That we did
And
that?
yes, and it was never said by this board.
No, we didn't do that. He was given, we said, okay, it's a little
Because of
more
his illness.
time for him to recover from his operation, is what we said. Now, I don't know what the time span was on that, but we never told him he could take all the time he wants to
Yes, I
figure
know,
out
and it
what
was
he
in-
wants to do.
I know, but that's what was said
We did never
yesterday.
give it a time limit.
And
though.
what was the 5 days? What was he supposed to do in his last 5 days?
Bring the property into compliance with what the letter said, and he began working with it and working with the town. Typically, when
And he
a,
hasn't done anything yet.
well, everything is removed but the shed. Everything's cleared up but the shed. The shed is the only item remaining at this
But
time.
the 5 days are passed.
Typically, when somebody starts working with the town to bring something into compliance, we do try
Thank
and
you.
work with property
On
owners.
the 5 days passed,
Yes, sir.
fine him.
Yes, sir.
The shed is not a shed, it's almost like a garage.
No, the letter actually said shed, Connex containers, or it said Connex instead of Comex, and the carport. The Comex container was removed, and the carport was removed. So the remaining item is the shed.
The debris was removed also?
Yes, the debris was moved, but that wasn't done anything with the building department.
Yeah.
That was with, accumulation with the police department. So
And
that,
code enforcement.
that was code enforcement, yes.
Well,
But I just
apparently,
wanted-
talk doesn't do anything with this gentleman, so maybe dollars is talk.
Well, that was also mentioned yesterday, and, I do want to mention one thing, that Mr. Austin, unfortunately, he's not here, but he did say in one of the meetings that that builder, that he believed that that was said, that there was no more building in Lee Cove when they had made that subdivision that they had built. And nobody seemed, the building department didn't take that into consideration and continues with the shed and other things. So if it was said, I did ask for public record to get some more information on Lee Cove, to maybe those minutes that aren't available to the public. And my records request said, there's nothing available for me. So none of those discussions, I don't have any access to. As far as, because, the reason being is because the challenge of the ground was he said, what Mr. Austin actually said is the soil had always been a challenging subject there, and that when they had developed Lee Cove, he believes that we said that is it. So maybe that's why they didn't come for a permit with the shed. Maybe he's renting out the land and collecting rentals off it. I don't know. For the shed. I don't know. But the point is, I mean, it all started because the drainage, which Mr. Oliphant is, and the stormwater is, you're working. But I just wanted to bring it to your attention, because it all started here 1 year ago today, or tomorrow, and it was 90 days since the 5-day notice was given. Mr. Austin did say that it is this governing body that would enforce the violations, and to see what happens. I'm hoping that something could be filed in court instead of us waiting longer, so.
Okay, well,
I have a question.
yes.
Don, is there stormwater violations over there?
I wouldn't call it a violation in existing conditions.
Well, I mean, if the swale's being impeded in some way by the shed.
No, the shed has nothing to do with the drainage. The shed's up on top of the hill.
Okay.
No, they're two.
It was okay.
But
Because there were some swales there that were supposed to be there.
Yeah, but the shed's almost, I don't know exactly where it is, but.
Can we bring it up on the GIS, please?
We're not saying the shed's not an issue, we're just saying it's a separate issue.
Okay.
It's definitely an issue.
Okay.
I'm just asking.
Yes, but it is in the
Right,
drainage.
Don was out there and looked at this, and we have stormwater ordinances that may or may not also be violations.
Right.
That's what I'm
Okay.
asking.
Okay, for the 20 millionth time, the subdivision plans show a 15-foot drainage easement behind the whole entire U-shaped cul-de-sac. 15 feet, so that means the town, if I'm not mistaken, has 15 feet on the property back of each property to work with to put in a drain, correct? Isn't that why I'm in front of the storm board? Because they're saying, yes, we'll help you because this is our property? Or, so that would be the same for my neighbor where the shed is located. That's what I'm trying to say. So if you want to bring it up, you could see what I'm talking about.
Angie, what I'm saying is that it's not causing a stormwater issue. Is it in an easement
Excuse me?
yet? It said it's not causing the stormwater issue. I'm not denying it's potentially within an easement. but
Okay, so
it's
it is
not
in an easement,
causing-
right?
I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't been out there, I haven't surveyed it, I can't tell
So
you.
this shed's supposed to be what, 16 feet high?
Surveying,
40
I've been
feet
out
long?
there, Angie, you know I've been out
Yes,
there.
sir.
I'm saying I haven't surveyed property lines to know exactly where that easement is, so I can't tell you yes or no.
I understand what
that
you're saying
that is
to
there.
me. Yeah, but I
so-
did turn in the survey that was turned in before. I'm just saying that.
Yeah, I'm not saying that.
Okay.
I'm just saying that it potentially could be in an easement, but it's not causing your drainage issue, is what I'm trying to say.
From my neighbors, yes, it is, and because also too, my neighbor's drain spout that comes off his roof is in my backyard.
But that has nothing to do with the shed.
It's,
Is there supposed to be a swale between her property and the neighbor to the south?
Probably.
can you look at the water flow? There you go.
Don, I
There is a-
don't even understand why you're commenting to me, this is your job to take care of, not mine.
It's not your idea to just
Well, I'm not
talk.
doing
Okay.
your
You're
job.
gonna say something.
Sir, I'm not talking to you. Don't talk to me if I'm not talking to you.
If I may, can I go up there and point to what I'm showing?
John,
So
he
somebody-
started it, I said nothing.
No, I'm finishing it, shut up.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, you can go up there, Angie.
Thank you, sir. Okay. If you could make this bigger instead of so tiny where nobody can see it.
Three sheds are on his property.
Where's,
Your house
okay, this is my house, okay?
right there.
Can't see my yard anymore for what you did with this.
You touch that screen, you can't touch the screen.
Okay, I didn't touch the screen. Okay, there is, between the back of my house to that property line, from here, 27 feet. There's 15 feet from that property line to the back of my house that is a drainage easement. The same with this one, and then it changes over here. But if you look at this thing, there's 15 feet all the way around for a drainage easement. That is why I was able to come to the Stormwater Board to ask for help, because the Stormwater said, yes, there should be, that's our drainage easement. Okay, so why is the Stormwater, why are we not saying that, no, that's not a drainage easement? Because the same plans that show on me are the same plans that show on my neighbor. So if you can see, if you could expand it, this was the carport, that was the,
I can only zoom between
okay,
the
that's
two.
fine, thank you. That was the carport, this is the shed, that's the Conex box. Okay, this is all elevated. There, whatever amount from, what, 721, 718, down to the front of my house, which is, can you bring it down a little bit? I think it goes as far as like 711 or something, but it's very, very low here. So I get the water at this 718 mark and this 718 mark, and up here, it all goes this way, plus comes this way. So how could this not be the drainage? I'm getting the water at this 719 level, here it says 712. Does everybody understand what I'm trying to say?
I totally understand.
I understand, but we're here on that, shed.
Yes.
Let's get the shed done. Let's get the, drainage board and the ordinance violation to the proper channels and get them enforceable.
Okay, so what the plan is, just songs were on the subject, the plan is, either Plan A, that this builder comes and puts a ditch in he was supposed to on his property, or Plan B, if he doesn't, just put like an underground thing there, which I was fine with Don, and I spoke about it, but shouldn't the real plan be to have a ditch there like it's supposed to?
Who's giving you these plans?
Who's giving me the plans?
Yeah,
Stormwater?
Stormwater, then that's where you should be bringing this
No, sir, I
up.
don't know what you're,
We're here with the shed. Now, the drainage, we can't do anything about. And we've told you that before.
okay,
It's
thank you.
the storm board. Well, now you're upset like I
Well,
am.
I'm upset because you don't understand it's in the drainage easement, and that's okay.
I don't
That's why-
understand what.
The drainage, she said. But we have nothing to do with the drainage. We're here by the shed.
Yes, sir,
and-
thank
And the
you.
ordinance violation.
Yes.
Let's get the shed out of there.
Yes, because the shed was built up.
Okay, we'll get this shed out of there.
Okay.
Stormwater, I'll take care of the stormwater.
Okay, I
and
apologize.
the ordinance
I'm
violation,
just very
take care of the
frustrated,
ordinance.
Mr. Cora.
For the record, Don,
Yes.
there's stormwater issues there with elevations and swales that do not exist?
There was a swale proposed on those rear lots as part of the Lee Cove platting back in '06, '07, whatever, '08.
And they don't exist now?
They've never existed.
Okay.
Thank
all
you.
right.
He went,
Thank you very much.
it's probably because it went defunct at the time.
Is it?
All that.
Yeah. I just want everybody clear.
So it never got completed because of,
I would say back in '06, '07, '05, it was kind of the wild, wild west that a lot of stuff didn't get enforced. Especially with this subdivision.
I
that had
remember we had to go
significant
back and tear all the houses down and all that dumb stuff that happened over there. I think the frustrating part for everybody is all these years later, after that didn't get completed and the town had to spend all the money that they had to do, and we got the same damn guy over there playing the same damn games over and over again.
I agree.
That's just the long and short of it.
Good.
Thank you, sir.
Are we sending a letter to the, are we sending a fine to this violator?
She just said she called them and sent a letter.
Are we gonna follow through with the letter, because that thing, are we gonna turn it into court?
I will, if the shed is not taken care of and the fine is not paid, I will turn it over to legal.
How long does he have to pay the fine? And what is the fine?
The typical standard is 10 business days, so if you want me to follow less than that, I just need direction.
And how much is the fine?
Anywhere from $25 to $2,500 per day of violation, depending on the level of infraction.
Who's getting the fine, the homeowner or Bruce Young?
I will send it to the owner of the property,
Owner of the property, which is
Bruce Young.
Price Point. Got you. Perfect.
Okay?
Terry Brothers, 145-13 Morris. I'd like to apologize for having those words with you, Mr. Chairman. I didn't start that dialogue, and I don't appreciate you commenting
hear you
from this.
muttering.
Hold on,
Why
let
do
me
you think
finish,
I
Don.
responded
Let me
to you?
finish. You are sitting on that side of the dais.
Okay.
I am a spectator. If I'm making comments under my breath, you should not comment to me.
If I can hear you that deep, I
Now,
will.
you can hear me, and the reason you commented on is because I'm correcting you again. I've been on 4 or 5 different things that I've seen you do, John, or Don, and I've called out 4 or 5 different things that got fixed, and you fixed them. And I know you don't like me very much, but that doesn't ever give you the right to comment on something I say under my breath 3, 4, 5 rows away from you. I'm sorry that you failed at your job on this one and on many others. I'm sorry about that, because you just said that the swales don't exist. Well, let me ask you something. Greg said it best. We're doing the same thing with the same guys over and over again, the same stuff, right? How long have you been with the town, Don?
We've been here since '06.
Since '06. So were you in on that project?
No.
Oh, how many years before you?
Huh?
How many years did that project go before you, and how many times has this project come before you? And I understand you want to gavel me, and I won't get any farther.
That's it. You said your piece on Don, get off Don. If you got something else to say, say it. If not, sit down. Plain and simple. I'm tired of all this crap
Well,
tonight.
you know what, Mr. Chairman, we all are tired of this crap, but if we can't get the job done right the first time with the people we're paying to do it, then this is when you have the crap. Get it done right the first time.
Terry, I don't know that that's fair, because that project and that developer went bankrupt at that time, and it did not get finished.
Hold on.
The Mountain State Bank
And
tried
then,
to finish
if
some
we're
of
gonna
it.
talk about that developer, he was kicked out of town once, the land was taken away from him, if I can remember correctly, with the dialogue that's taken place on this property. He's lost the property,
Terry, that's
got
what-
it
that's
back.
what- that's what's
He was
incredible.
run out of town
That's-
once already, now he's run into town again.
That's what's incredible.
That's what's incredible, thank you.
But that's not our fault either.
I know it's not
We
his
just took that
fault,
out.
but when I got down,
Banks and
turned
court
on the
don't
dais to me,
that
that's
nonsense.
upsetting.
We are not the
Very
building
upsetting.
department. Thank you.
Making it easy one.
It's easy. Mr. Deutmeyer?
Yeah.
Regarding the circumstances with the property we're talking about in Lee Cove, your recommendation on the amount of the fine is what?
Well, I mean, it's daily. I guess the hard part would be for Ashley to figure out, given the fact that everybody knows some sort of extension of time was given, but not knowing how long that extension was given for, sort of pinpointing a date to start from. I mean, 25 is the minimum, 2,500 is the maximum. If you want them to pay it, you're gonna wanna go on the lower end, because 25 times whatever, 45 is still a significant sum. If you really wanna stick it to them, you go, I mean, make it $100 a day, and then you're talking, what, potentially 4,500?
Can it be in increments, like $25 a day for the first week, up to
I mean,
$50
you
a
could,
day?
and then you're just getting difficulties with the math. I would just make something uniform, and it's just X times however many days. $50 isn't terribly unreasonable. I mean, I don't know much about this individual, whether he can pay and whether that's going to be enough.
And what's happened in the courts, from what I've been told, is that they go to court and the judge sometimes...
Well, you have no shot of a judge enforcing $2,500 a day. I guarantee you that. There's no chance in heck.
And they could say don't have the ability to pay, and he could throw it
Yeah, I
right out
mean,
of
the
court.
court would enter a judgment, but
So is there?
I've seen that happen.
But it's out of our hands if the judge throws it out.
Yeah.
What can we do?
All right, what I wanna know is, Storm Board is responsible for seeing some of this problem solved, right? Or is the tool to solve some of these problems?
Stormwater and stormwater issues are handled by the Storm Board.
Okay. The shed is handled by code enforcement.
It's handled by zoning ordinance, which is handled by my department.
Correct. Now, what other problem do we have here? Those are the two
I
main
believe we've
problems?
gotten everything else taken care of.
The original problem is there probably wasn't a letter of credit to finish it. That's the original problem.
What I want for the next meeting is a report from the storm board and a report from code enforcement or whoever's taking care of that shed, telling this board, this commission, what their stance is on it right now, what they have done, and what they're going to do, and what the time frame is. I'm tired of this lady coming up in front of me and telling me her problems that I can't fix. And she's here, she's at more meetings than Bob Carnahan, for crying out loud.
And to clarify,
I don't know about
we have to establish a fine for Tim, correct? We have at least skipped over that?
That's what I'm trying to catch back up
I
with.
just don't wanna miss that.
So if you want a round number, I'd say $100 a day.
Okay, Ashley, have you been given a number by the council?
They did not give me a number.
Okay, is it in our purview to issue such a number based
I
on
mean,
your
you can give her
recommendations?
direction. I mean, I think 100 is appropriate. Again, I don't think it's ever gonna be paid.
A recommendation.
You're recommending $100 fine per day?
Sure. I mean, you wanna get attention. And if you really wanna get attention, fine them $500 a day, but that's never gonna accomplish anything.
Yeah, but that doesn't sound like anybody's being reasonable.
No, and a court's not gonna enter that as a judgment.
And when
Not yet.
does the $100 start?
I mean,
That's going to be the question, is if the time period was granted, there was never a specific time period, when would you like me to have it start?
At the end of the 5 days, which
May I?
is now.
I mean, let them argue that it's,
I just want to say the letter did include the verbiage that if you do not comply, we could levy this against your property. It says, that's what it says in the letter.
Fines can be levied against your property in accordance with zoning ordinance 1402, chapter 19, section F.
Well, we don't want to step on any other boards or department's feet here.
And
But-
like the storm board, they had enough money for 5 projects, and they had 5 projects, and they only had enough money to cover 3, because we don't have enough money generated to cover all the things that we need to do.
I'm not worried about money right now, I'm worried about her problem, okay?
Yeah.
If we don't have the money, so be it. But she needs an answer of what's gonna happen when we do have the money. That's what I wanna know.
But we're never gonna have the money if we don't start finding people like this.
You're exactly right.
Like spin in circles.
Mr. Deutmeyer, do we need to vote on the recommended fine?
no, just give her direction.
Okay.
That's fine, recommended fine. I don't wanna say that we're finding that, our recommendation is
I'd like to
$100 a
get
day.
a copy of the letters too that are sent to these people, so we know, we can see what's being sent to them.
May I ask where that fine collection money, what fund it goes into? Does it go into stormwater? Does it
No,
go
it
to
doesn't
general
go into
fund?
stormwater.
Who gets that money?
I have no idea.
The general fund, I believe.
I believe so, I'd have to double check with Jen, there's a specific code line for zoning violations.
Put in the lake, everything else went.
We don't know?
I would have to check with the
I don't know.
treasurer
It probably
on
goes
when
into
it's
the general
computed in,
fund.
what
I
fund it
don't know, I
goes
didn't have to
into.
do with money.
That'd be something for clerk treasurer.
Pizza.
Or maybe an attorney can find out?
Pizza money.
Actually,
Can someone give her an answer?
No, that's okay. We're good. We're good. I just wanted to let you know that I did not mean, I
Yeah,
did
but
not
Andy's
mean,
learning the tougher questions.
I
He's
did
asking.
not mean to step on your toes by talking with town council yesterday. I just wanted to let you know that it did come up because it was brought up in conversation and in public comment. I said, hey, look, this is, so I had to bring them up to speed on what was going on.
Gee, don't apologize. If I was you, I'd be screaming from the rooftops right now.
Yeah.
So don't apologize for it. I just want to figure out how we can help you, and it's like we've
I
been
just
saying this for 3
don't
months.
want everybody else to get upset with me. I'm not trying to bring everybody
Too late.
down.
No one's upset with you.
I'm
Too
just
late.
trying to,
No one's upset with her.
Too late.
I'm just,
No.
well, excuse me, you know what? Yes,
I was
there
here-
are people upset with me. There have been doors closed on me when I had my neck brace on. Thank you. So,
I was here
yeah,
last
there are
night.
people upset
I was
with me.
here last night, and there was no number. That's why I asked Mr. Deutmeyer what I asked him.
Okay, fine,
Thank
thank you.
you.
All right, we're clear on that, all right.
What day am I starting the fine on, that way I can make sure I calculate appropriately?
I thought you said 5 days.
No, you said after 5 days.
Well, wait,
You gave them 5 days to do whatever you're supposed to be doing now, right? The 5 days is up.
I did not give him so the initial letter that was sent in January had 5 days. That's when he started working on it, and then he asked for additional time. That's when I brought that to the board at the February 7th meeting. Additional time was granted, but not clear on how long for the neighbor to heal. So that's kind of where I'm trying to figure out where I'm starting the fine from, because if we did give him additional time to bring it into compliance, where am I starting the fine from?
6 days from today.
No.
You said he had 5 days to move that shed, and the 5 days is up, right?
Yep.
According to the letter that was sent out in January.
That's what
5
Nick
days.
said last night, 5 days is up.
5 days is up. What day was it up? Today, yesterday, 2 days ago?
No, January.
The letter was sent in January.
January 22nd, 2024. That was the 5 days.
I doubt you can go back to January and start finding them, but we can start finding them.
I mean, that's what I'm saying, is you're never gonna get the monies paid.
All right,
Start
so,
finding them tomorrow.
so send him a letter, tell him he's got 5 days from today, or tomorrow, that's the date of the letter. At the end of that 5 days, on the 6th day, he'll get a bill for $100.
I mean, I would suggest if you're gonna do that, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I mean, I was speaking in reference back to January. If you're restarting the clock, it's $2,500. So if it's not gone on the 6th day, $2,500. If it's not gone on the 7th day, $2,500.
That would get his attention.
That will absolutely get his attention.
I vote that.
Fine.
Do we need to vote?
No.
No, you don't need a vote.
Done. 2,500, starting, on the 6th day from tomorrow.
Okay. I will send out another letter to him tomorrow.
And call them too.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You're not gonna ask for any more public comment, are you?
I thought retirement was supposed to be easy. Any other comment? Please, no.
I am not suicidal. That's my
No further comments?
I'm looking at the
All right, we're adjourned at 9:39. Thank you, everybody.
When did this run?